Good evening. Welcome to Friday Night, Saturday Morning, which this week has a transatlantic flavour in that one of our guests is American, author Helene Hanff. Another is a British star currently making an astonishing impact on Broadway, David Bowie. Another lot, the Hollies, have just recorded an album of songs made famous by one of America's legendary performers, Buddy Holly. And another guest author, Christopher Matthew, and I have both stayed at the Plaza Hotel, New York. Not together, I hasten to add. When I was in New York recently, I did not stay at the Plaza, but did manage to totter down to Broadway's Booth Theatre, where rock star David Bowie's career has taken yet another astonishing turn. He's taken over the lead in one of last season's Broadway hits, The Elephant Man, a straight, legitimate play. Should we start the show?
Well, we have done. We've already started. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. The following day, I had a long talk with Mr. Bowie, far removed from his Ziggy Stardust persona, which we'll be showing later. But right now, Hollies and Heartbeat, great record. And now Bowie in New York. The play in which rock star David Bowie has scored a remarkable triumph on Broadway is called The Elephant Man. It's a story set in late 19th century England of John Merrick, played by Bowie, a grotesquely deformed man who suffered a miserable existence as a pathetic circus attraction until he was befriended by a brilliant young surgeon. Also closely involved with John Merrick's rehabilitation was a beautiful English actress, Mrs. Kendall, superbly played by Patricia Elliott. Confusingly, a film about John Merrick starring John Hurt has just been released, but apart from the subject matter, the two projects, that's the play and the film, are unrelated. Bowie's first appearance as a straight actor met with almost universal praise from the New York critics, and I know to my cost that they can be slightly unpleasant at times, and there are long lines at the box office. In the first extract you're going to see, the doctor, Frederick Treves, played by Donald Donnelly, is trying to convince the Elephant Man that he really has a home for the first time in his life.
You are happy here, are you not, John?
Oh, yes.
The baths have rid you of your odour, have they not?
First chance I've had to pay regular. Leave.
3 meals a day delivered to your room?
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is your promised land, is it not? A roof, food, care, protection?
Oh, right, Mr. Treves.
I'll bet you don't know what to call this.
No, sir, I don't.
You call it home.
Never had a home before.
Well, you have one now. Say it, John. Home.
Oh?
No, I mean really say it. I have a home. This is not... Come on.
I have a home. This is my home. This is my home. I have a home. I have for as long as I like.
That is what home is.
That is what is home.
I like David Bowie in it. You could see the sensitivity behind him in the play, carrying it across differently. It's good to see him in a different role other than just music.
It brings a vulnerability that I didn't see in the previous actor. You know, it comes across in his body and also his face. His terrific delivery, too. It's amazing.
It's a side of him I wasn't acquainted with, and I'm impressed.
Visualize what this man really looked like, and it's an exceptional performance.
I mean, he's wonderful. I love him.
Well, here we are, in fact, in the wonderful warm suite of the Carlisle Hotel. They're all warm, but this is one of the warmest. And thank you for sparing a bit of your time. Last night I saw you on Broadway, the first time I've seen you legitimately acting, or acting legitimate, as they call it here. Why have you done it? Obvious question. But
Perfunctory answer, because somebody asked me if I would.
and was it the play that attracted you, or the idea of...
Not really. I saw the play. I missed it when it was in London at the Hampstead. But then Philip Anglin brought it over to New York and started it there. And I missed it off Broadway as well. I always wanted to go and see it when I'd heard about it, because there was a book by Frank Edwards called Strange People, which came out when I was a teenager, which had all kinds of things like the poor blowtorch. There was a young black guy who walked into a Chicago hospital and said that he couldn't lie down on the sheets because they used to burst into flame, and he lay down on the bed and promptly set the pillow on fire. And I held him for 24 hours, but then he sort of ran away in terror, and nobody ever knew what happened to him. It was full of those kinds of stories, and one of them was John Merrick, the Elephant Man. And that appealed to me ever since then, because of I have a sort of eclectic thing about freaks and isolationists and alienated people, and I kind of gather information on people like that, mentally anyway. Then it became a play, and that sort of rekindled my interest in it. I went to see it on Broadway when it had already got sort of smartened up and become a Broadway piece, and I was totally knocked out by it. I thought it's sort of a classic piece of Victorian melodramatic writing with a slight socialist subtext, but it appealed to me strongly. I thought the structure was very good, but thought no more. And then Jack Hofsis, the director, came to see me a couple of months later whilst I was back in New York yet again doing the Scary Monsters album, and asked me if I would consider taking over the role at the end of the year. And I was flabbergasted, because I had never been asked to do anything that sort of supposedly legit. And I said I would adore to.
And you began out of town?
Yeah, we began to. They sort of played safe and put me somewhere so I could die a quiet death.
Right.
Denver, and we did a week there, and then we did 3 weeks in Chicago, and then they felt that I was right for the big time.
Right. Well, in fact, you didn't die a death.
Big time. Brian Ferry impersonation. You get everything on this show.
In actual fact, all went very well. The critics gave you a very kind reception.
Yeah.
Do after all the years of having had a pretty good run in the rock world, which is obviously still continuing, do you in fact find getting praise from
it was
different
a
sources?
limp rather than a run. Awkward at best, but
you must be almost blasé about praise from rock papers, or at least the intelligent ones. Are you in fact much more thrilled by the audience response at Broadway? Is it a totally new excitement for you?
Praise from rock papers has never been a gift given unto me. But,
or indeed to anybody.
No, indeed. It's no, some have been.
Well, say the audience.
Very
I mean, there was
listen,
there was a
yes,
great
quite
ovation.
so. I've had a terrific audience that have been staunchly loyal, in the main part, to what I've done and the changes that I've taken, which have been quite, as you know, diverse to say the least. And there have been a sort of a knotty band that have sort of stayed with me through all of that. And so I don't think, I've tried never to feel self-satisfied with what I've been doing, which has prompted me to keep on moving in different directions. But it certainly was an incredible fulfillment for me to be able to do something so-called legitimate. In fact, undergo that kind of discipline and find that I could withstand it and work within somebody else's very strict confines.
Are you getting people saying, I enjoyed your performance, but I hadn't even heard of you before? I mean, is this possible?
That element has crept into it, yeah. There have been some regular theatre goers who've come and said, well, they had heard of me,
the name, but
in some either perverse fashion or or some kind of really corrupted idea of what I was about.
Right.
And I suppose they've got a different impression of me now. Little do they know.
How long will you do the part 4 on Broadway?
2 hours. Then I go to bed and I do it.
How many 2 hours will you do?
About, I don't think I could personally go past Christmas. I know I'm tied up till Christmas.
So that's quite a run.
So it's a long run.
Yeah.
But I mean, for somebody who's as sort of grasshoppery by nature as myself, it's a long run.
And would you like to go back to the stage on something else in due course?
Not particularly, no. I've learned an awful lot just in the few weeks that I've been doing this. I hope that I can explore the part even further. Good heavens, if I don't, then I'll be sort of wasting a lot of time. I would like to be more adventurous with the part. I've been sticking very tightly to the way I first wanted to interpret the thing, whilst all this palaver has gone on about press and opening nights and whatever. Now things are relaxing more.
Sure.
I would like to stretch out into it more. And there are certain avenues I would like to follow that I haven't had the courage to do so yet, but now I sort of will probably take advantage.